The Battle of Nahara? Like, that sounds mythical. Like, it sounds like they were using magic fireballs in that, bro. That's how I want to go out if I was to go out in a battle, bro. Don't put me in the Battle of Bartholomew. It's crazy that that's not even a joke. That's the actual battle that was called that. Welcome back to the Stanley Live channel. Today is going to be me. It's going to be... No. Forget the intro. I have to apologize. I actually just want to take this moment out and say something real quick. Chat history. We're watching The Most Evil Kings in History by my dog. Now, last video I said some things, you know, from an emotional place, and I hurt the person closest to me. And I just want to say I'm sorry. See, who are we but the circumstances that shaped us? Who are we but the pain and struggles that made up a shape and form as a human being? And though I know I'm not perfect, chat history, I hope you can forgive me. He gonna fuck with that. He gonna fuck with that. He gonna fuck with that. Now, last video I said me and chat history weren't brothers, and then he commented on it with a sad face emoji. So, you know what I'm saying? I gotta win my dog back. Like, that's how you get your homie back. You know what I'm saying? So, hopefully he see that part, and then he stops watching right there, so he doesn't see like the acting behind it. You know what I'm saying? This video is on chat history, bro. Let's get into the video, bro. Shout out chat history. Hopefully he sees us.
Evil kings doing evil things. Again.
What's good, AC?
It's always a roll of the dice when slapping a quivering child on the throne. Will they mature into a fair and caring leader, or will they go goose?
Oh my gosh, Demon Slayer. I'm not gonna say much. I'm not gonna say much. If you haven't watched it, I won't say much. Chat, if you spoil, you're getting timed out. Look, this is literally
when slapping a quivering child on the throne. Will they,
if you know, you know. If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
They mature into a fair and caring leader, or will they go goo goo gaga bonkers and tear the country asunder? Well, it really depends on whoever raises them. For the case of young Charles IX, he was screwed from the get-go. Born in the Saint-Germain-en-Laye commune in north-central France back in old 1550, young Chuck had a lot to look forward to. He was the prince after all. Surely once his dear old dad had passed at a reasonably old
melanin mix, I know that was a joke, but still, chill.
Old age, after bequeathing decades of knowledge and wisdom to his growing boy, Charles would do well to carry on that legacy. It's just too bad that Chuck's dad, Henry II, caught a honkin' hunk of splintered wood in his eyeball during a jousting tournament and died from an infection. Quite an embarrassing death, wouldn't you? Dang.
I mean, this is probably 200 BC, and I understand that, but man, I see how they switch. They ain't even have no guns back then. But just like the trenches in the streets, I had to see a young king die by the stick. I mean, yeah.
Agree? But an embarrassing death is a death nonetheless. So for a reign to progress, a prince must acquiesce his distress and take to the throne with success. After his older brother died, of course. There we go. Now up to bat, Charles took the throne in 1560. The mathematically astute among you...
I said 200 BC. That's so bad. Yo, shout out King Charles, bro.
We'll realize that in 1560, the new monarch would be only 10. And you're correct.
Wow.
The compact little croissant was now king, but he couldn't reign his way out of a cloud. So until Charles came of age, the big britches of power were instead passed on to his mother, Catherine de Medici, and she had plans of her own. It's important to acknowledge that during this time in France, there was a lot of religious squabbling, mainly between Catholics and Protestants. They both believe in the same...
You telling me Catholics and Protestants are like, thou shalt not yield, nigga? You know what I'm saying? And they was throwing holy haymakers. That's kind of hard. I'm not going to lie. Fight for what you believe.
God, sure. It's just that their teachings are slightly different, but different enough to kill each other.
Oh, they were killing each other. I thought they were running friendly fades. Okay, cool.
Catholics were in the majority, with the Protestants, mainly a subsect called the Huguenots, being the persecuted rebellious few, making up about 10% of France's population. With ongoing violence slowly escalating over the years, Catherine proposed the Edict of January, basically stating, "Alright, we'll tolerate y'all, but cut the shit, behave yourselves, and follow the rules."
Right.
But the more committed Catholics of the French government weren't too pleased with, at the very least, putting up with all of these heretical Protestants. One such outraged individual was Francis, Duke of Guise.
That's a horrible, like, beard, right? But that's a great... Does he have... Dang, he kind of got that... He kind of got that on. He got a VVS on his ear. He got a pearl VVS on his ear, unless I'm making that up. Nah. Okay, the beard not the best, right? Because you hate to see this indentation right here. The mustache is amazing. The whole haircut works though. And then he went VV on the ear. Yo, Francis Duke of Guise?
He already had a bad experience. One such outraged individual was Francis, Duke of Guise.
Guise, that's exactly what I said. Yo, Francis Duke of Guise, yo, he got that on, I ain't gonna lie.
He already had a bad experience with the Huguenots, having recently uncovered a plot to have him removed from power. His resulting rage culminated in the massacre of Vassy, where the aforementioned Duke found a stronghold of worshipping Huguenots gathered in a church on his land. So he killed a bunch of them. This event kicked off the first of several religious wars in France. But what does all of this have to do with Charles? Well, during the years of the on and off wars between the Catholics and the Protestants, Charles became a target. He had avoided assassination and abduction attempts from the Huguenots, making it harder for the king to empathize with them. After turning 13, Charles declared himself old enough to rule on his own, granting himself full authority, though he remained heavily influenced by Mama Medici. With thousands of his own people dead and royal coffers running dry, Charles needed to end these wars once and for all. So he hatched a plan. He had arranged the marriage between his very Catholic sister Margaret and devout Huguenot leader Henry of Navarre, as an act of good faith and a final peace offering. The most wealthy and influential of the Huguenot leaders flocked to witness the wedding, but many would not make it home. Whoa. With growing concerns and paranoia surrounding
it's just like that one Attack on Titan episode.
The influx of Huguenot leaders, Charles and his mother feared that a rebellion was on the horizon. So on August 22nd, 1572, under the influence of his mother, Charles ordered the execution of Admiral Gaspard de Coligny, one of the main Huguenot leaders in town.
Mind your own business!
This murder sparked the infamous Bartholomew's Day Massacre, a systematic
I can't die on Bartholomew. I cannot die in a massacre called Bartholomew. My soul would fiscally and spiritually be incapable of resting. If I'm not gonna lie, if I die, give me something hard. Like the battle at Gettysburg, like that sounds hard. Like, you get what I'm saying? D-Day, that's hard. You get what I'm saying? I better not die at St. Bartholomew's Massacre. That is trash. Shout out everybody that passed away though. My heart goes. Right. Shout out. Damn.
Slaughtering of thousands of Huguenots within Paris.
What's good, Quentin?
Homes and shops were raided, pillaged, and destroyed, and bodies were disrespectfully dumped in the Seine. Wanting to take advantage of the uprising as a way to strangle any remaining life of the Huguenots' power once and for all, some historians believe that Charles...
Nigga in chat said, my shit gotta be called the rumbling for real. Yo, facts, bro. No cap.
Pushed for the violence to extend beyond the city, despite calling for an end to the violence a few days later to save face. Over the course of the next several weeks, tens of thousands of Huguenots were executed. The massacre, however, had the opposite effect. Unsurprisingly, the Protestants were now properly pissed off, initiating more religious wars that would last for another 26 years.
Did they have better names?
King Charles would never live to see peace. The aftermath of the massacre drove the young king insane, shifting between bouts of boasting and remorse. One day he would be bragging about the extremity of the brutal bloodshed, while the next he claimed to be haunted by the screams of his victims. His mental health got flushed down the shitter as he constantly expressed immense—
I'm not gonna lie, performative. I'm just giving that performative. I'm giving that performative. Something about that didn't seem real to me just now.
grief over the incident. It also didn't help that Mama Medici made her son feel worse, giving him the full blame and declaring him—
Hey, I kinda hit that. Mamma mia, mamma mia. I know they're not even the same ethnic background. I'm pretty sure this is like Britain or English or whatever. And is it Mamma Mia Italian? But Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia.
a raving lunatic. In his now vulnerable and weakened state, the young king contracted tuberculosis in spring of 1574. King Charles IX coughed himself into the great beyond a few months later at the age of 23.
Tuberculosis, isn't that the thing that you could get from vapes? And he died at 23? Well, I guess there was a medicine from it, but you get tuberculosis from vaping, right? Or no?
Is Charles IX really evil, or did he just get the raw end of the deal? We may never know. But speaking of deals... Where am I?
Chat history. You know what? Let's watch it.
You're in the real world, dude, and I've got something to show you. I'm not real. What you're standing on is a special little project me and my buddies at Epic Desk have been cooking up for the past few months. Oh, neat. Sure soft. You're darn right it is. Each desk mat from Epic Desk is handcrafted and built to last. I mean, look at the quality of this thing. Damn, that desk mat is thick. It's also pretty smooth. Your mouse is gonna glide smoother than a buttered up penguin on a Teflon slip and slide. Nice hyperbolic simile, dude. Thanks. I also came up with a few more desk mat designs guaranteed to make you say, I want that. If the flame fiddle in Nero isn't your cup of tea, check out the mischievous witch and her involuntary time-traveling fella. Or how about the thigh-slappingly hilarious honking Brit? Or my personal favorite, a nice family photo of all the characters you know and love with yours truly front and center. Now, I have been using this desk mat for a while now and...
Chat, what do I have to do to get, like, a character in a video? And then, okay, let's trade off. I put your chat history character in a video, in an animation. You put me in an animation. I don't got to be important. I can just be in the background. You know, something light, something cool. I'm going to bring this up at the front of the video next time. I'm going to bring this up at the front of your next video.
Can legitimately vouch for its high quality and value. I really can't see myself using any of the desk mat at this point. In fact, Epic Desk regularly collaborates with creators, and from what I hear, I'm not alone in this opinion. I'm really proud of these designs, and I just know that you fellas and fillettes will love them too. So if you want to support the channel and get yourself or a friend your own sweet piece of history, click my link in the pinned comment below to get started. Just don't wait too long though, because these mats are only available for a limited time, so be sure to grab one before they're gone. By the way, no restocks. Alright, next chapter.
W chat history.
Now, when you have a damning title like The Cruel, which admittedly is badass in and of itself, it's most likely one that was earned through various acts.
See, let me die in that. Like, I don't want to die. I don't want to die at all. I don't want to die. That's not what I'm asking. But if I'm going to die, dying in The Cruel, yo, he gave his life up, bro. He fought hard in The Cruel, bro. Like, he's one of the realest people I've ever seen. That's hard, bro.
Of ferocity, or just being a downright dick. So let's take a look at what Peter I of Castile did to obtain it. Born in 1334, the pint-sized Peter Pokemon evolved into a 6-foot-tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, chiseled chap. A hard worker and well-educated, the young prince had the qualifications to become a great leader, but he was being led by a bad example: his father. Daddy Alfonso XI was a ruthless king, but in that day and age, you kind of had to be. Right. If you're too lenient, you're gonna get steamrolled by your enemies, but if you're too tyrannical, you're gonna catch a knife between your blades. Power! Alfonso, a man of strategy, worked tirelessly to expand his kingdom, arresting and executing any and all political opponents, often without trial. So it's pretty obvious where Peter's future policies may have been influenced. In 1350, King Alfonso XI himself caught an influential case of the Black Plague, which was ravaging Europe at the time, and ultimately dissolved from the throne, leaving it open to Peter.
I'm wrong for thinking I could survive the Black Plague, no medicine. I feel like there has to be a case of people surviving the Black Plague with no medicine. Yes, some people survived the Black Plague because of genetic variant that offered protection against the bacterium. Okay, just off, like, okay, so only if you got the, like, immune system. This protective variant allowed the immune system to produce a functional protein. I feel like I could do it just straight off the strength, though. I also got a good chance of getting, like, the good variant that, like, lets me live. I feel like I got good odds on that, too.
The determined prince donned the crown and became king of the Iberian kingdoms of Castile and Leon that same year. But it wasn't exactly a peaceful transition. Alfonso had a mistress who shot out multiple sons. Half-brothers to Peter who wanted the throne for themselves, one in particular being Enrique. But we'll get to that later. King Peter was just 16 at the time of his crowning, so he sometimes took political advice from his still-alive mother.
Okay.
One such piece of advice was marrying the alliterative 14-year-old Blanche of Bourbon in 1353. Do you, King Peter, take Blanche to be your wife for life?
Every time I get reminded that people did not marry to be in love at all back in the day. It just keeps getting shown and brought to me in every video we react to.
Clearly not thrilled with this venture, Peter, just 2 days after marriage, abandoned Blanche for his side chick and ultimate love interest, Maria de Padilla, with whom he married in secret before Bland-ass Blanche.
Right.
They had 4 babies together. Yeah, that's how it works.
Ouch.
As for
you say, unless my fiance hot or at least decent, I ain't. Brad Domingo, you supposed to marry because like love and personality and like, you know, you got, it's not, bro, your wife could be chopped as long as you love her, as long as you love her. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Blanche, it's actually kind of a sad story. Peter not only abandoned her, but had her imprisoned in a town near the southernmost point of the Iberian Peninsula, far away from the kingdom. Though she was briefly a queen, Blanche died in captivity in 1361 under mysterious circumstances. Some historians believe that she was either poisoned or caught a crossbow bolt in the skull under Peter's command, though this is debated. Pretty cruel if you ask me.
Dang, I guess you could say she was in there like, I don't want to be no Cinderella, sitting in a castle in Charlotte, waiting for somebody to come and set me free. I don't want to be by my side. Don't want to be no. I'd rather rescue myself. If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
However, during his reign, Peter also earned the title of Peter the Just from his supporters. The king had attempted to centralize power away from wealthy nobles, giving platform to commoners and minority populations, particularly Jews and Muslims. The nobles, unsurprisingly, did not like that one bit. But since the king was king and all, any nobles who felt particularly rebellious or treasonous were given a peaceful view of the horizon from a hanging rope. This trouble and turmoil among the ranks inspired a desire for someone to overthrow the crazed king. And who should show up but the various half-brothers from before. After many rebellions staged by said half-brothers, Peter captured and executed them all, including their mother. Wow. One brother was reportedly hacked to pieces as Peter looked on with a shit-eating grin. However, one brother managed to escape. Enrique evaded capture and fled to France, where he started to gather allies under French King John II. This caught the attention of another Peter, Peter of the neighboring kingdom of Aragon. Thus began the War of the Two Peters in 1356. Castile proceeded to kick Aragon's shit in, but Aragon had an ace up its sleeve. Yup, he was back. And now he was also backed by Aragon and the
oh my gosh, this is just like when Saps evaded the thing and then he found the other place and then he came back with the army with West Helm and they couldn't kill him.
French. Enrique infiltrated Castile and actually managed to dethrone Peter, who ran away to England for backup in order to exact revenge, which he did. Peter regained his throne after the Battle of Nájera in 1367, but he failed to properly thank and pay.
Literally any battle is better than the Battle of Bartholomew. Bro, the battle, like, this is hard.
Battle of Nájera in
the Battle of Nájera? Bro. That is gas. The Battle of Nahera? Like, that sounds mythical. Like, it sounds like they were using magic fireballs in that, bro. That's how I want to go out if I was to go out in a battle, bro. Don't put me in the Battle of Bartholomew. It's crazy that that's not even a joke. That's the actual battle that was called that. The Battle of Nahera, that could be a movie, bro. I'm watching that.
1367. But he failed to properly thank and pay tribute to the English for their help. Bad move. Now back at the helm, Peter systematically tortured and executed.
Bro, what did Bartholomew do to you? Look, if I have any supporters whose name is Bartholomew, first thing I want to say is unsubscribe. Yeah. Unsubscribe. You're not welcome in my community. You're not welcome in this community, bro. You know what I'm saying? Go take that joint to Yo-Yo. Go take that joint to Don Dior, whatever the case may be. Bartholomew, you're not allowed here, gang. Go support the rest of the homies, bro. Unsub, bro. I don't even know why you watching. You about to get me tight. All 10, nigga.
Any and all nobles whom he deemed supportive of Enrique, oftentimes without proof. Peter lived in pure paranoia for the next few years, failing to trust any advisors or nobles, leading to a collapse in political power. Seeing the perfect opportunity for a critical final strike, Enrique attacked once more with the Battle of Montiel in March of 13 Nice. Peter was defeated and was stabbed in the freaking face with a knife by his half-brother, who finally took the throne for good. Until
Nahera means place of carpenters stand. I promise you, it could have been place where you poop, and that joint still would have sounded harder than Bartholomew, gang. I don't even need to know the actual meaning. I don't. Just understand. Like, I want you guys to take a second at home right now. I know it's a little late, so you might have to whisper it. Say the word Nahera. Like, when it, like, pause comes out your throat, it sounds hard. Like, it's fire. You get what I'm saying? Like, Bartholomew just does not do that.
He died of heart failure a decade later. In Chinese history, Di Xin of the Shang dynasty is a textbook example of how greed, corruption, and tyranny can twist a leader into moral depravity. After his death, Di Xin was given the posthumous title of King Zhou, with Zhou being the name of the part of a saddle.
That's how they say that? I've been saying Zhao for years, like, because of Avatar.
That wraps around a horse's tail and brushes along its butthole. That's a wrap.
Wait, Shadow Realm, are you like the history? Are you gonna be like the history 2x4 of the chat? Like 2x4, he's our residential smart nigga, right? Shadow, are you like the residential historian? I would love to have you in the community. I don't know anything about history.
Other creative insult, so you know this guy messed up something awful. Now, being an ancient king and all, historians are forced to rely on often very heavily exaggerated and embellished stories and legends. So for this chapter, take what you will with a grain of salt. Also, forgive my pronunciations. And also subscribe. Alright. King Butthole Strap began his reign in 1070.
Shadow Realm, welcome to the field. So, okay, so now, I'm sorry, I'm pausing up this storm YouTube. I'm so sorry. So now we got our scientist, our chemist in 2x4, and now we have our historian in Shadow Realm. Now all I need is a math person. All I need is somebody in math, like, who's absolutely amazing in math. I think that's the next place that we go, and we see where we go from there. You know what I'm saying?
5 BC. According to ancient Chinese historian Sima Qian, the king was an exceptionally gifted fella, able to outsmart any opponent and strong enough to successfully hunt with nothing more than his bare hands. Doubtful, but whatever. Paired up with his favorite consort, the lovely and sadistic Da.
Caleb, the VOD channel gets made this week. It's actually already made. It's called Stanley's VODs. They get uploaded on this week.
The two became a powerhouse of torture and torment for those unfortunate enough to be in their vicinity. Although remembered as a competent strategist, able to expand his empire through military campaigns, the king was blinded by his infatuation with Da Qi and drained the kingdom's coffers on extravagance. He was the king, and he truly wanted to live like one. According to legend, King Zhou would stop at nothing to fulfill the wishes of Da Qi, going as far as to build an elaborate palace garden crammed full of rare and exotic animals. Well, that's not too bad, you might say, with a bit of drool on your chin.
The animals killed him.
Well, how about forcing royal subjects to drink from a freshly dug out wine pond or eat meat from hanging tree limbs? Oh yeah, they were all naked too. Where's all the hanging meat? I think I've found it.
Yeah.
These breezy brunches, along with any other over-the-top nonsensical nonsense, was funded solely by the taxpayers, which pissed them off.
You stupid.
The king's public support was nearly non-existent. It's just too bad that any outspoken individuals were subject to immediate imprisonment and torture. One such torture was the roasting beam, an invention of the king's own design. A long, hollow bronze beam positioned over a roaring fire. The roasting beam was stuffed with searing hot coals, transferring their heat to the highly thermoconductive bronze. The king would also take the time to grease up his long pole. According to legend, King Jo had forced prisoners to walk across the pole, promising release if they were successful. They weren't. An alternate version of this torture device was flipped 90 degrees, a bronze column to which the victim was chained while a fire roared beneath them, cooking the victim to a delicate medium rare. You know, firm, but with a little give. The king and his main squeeze would reportedly revel in the pain inflicted on their prisoners, seeing the torment as pure cinema. Now, when you live life in excess and are tyrannical and maniacal dickbags to your starving and suffering subjects, it's pretty easy to understand that said subjects are going to want to murder you. Like, passionately murder you.
Yeah.
King Jo's relatives begged him to change his ways and shift towards a noble and kind rule. He would not be persuaded. At least, not until this handsome bag of biscuits showed up. This is Chifa of Jo. Now, to clear some things up here, Jo is not Jo. This is Jo. This is Jo. Different inflection, different words. I don't know, man. The Chinese language is complicated. While evil-ass King Jo was getting his rocks off watching dudes burn, Chifa was gathering an army. Refusing to be threatened, the king answered the call of war in the Battle of Moye in 1046 BC, but ultimately got his metaphorical socks knocked off so hard that he faced defeat. The greedy king then retreated into his palace, surrounded himself with his treasures, and, symbolic of the gilded dumpster fire that was his reign, set everything, including himself, ablaze at the age of 59. Dachi, hearing of her beloved king's death, logged out of the server by strangling herself. Dachi was ultimately blamed for the king's erratic behavior, believed by many—
I'm not gonna lie, she probably did the best move right there. Because if they would have gotten a hold of her, the things they would have done to her, she actually ended up dying the best way that she could. Because if they got a hold of her, they would have tortured her.
To have been possessed by a demonic nine-tailed fox spirit, Naruto style. And thus with the death of King Jo, the Jo dynasty came into power. How about that?
You good, Caleb? Appreciate you, family.
The word terrible is tossed around like a frisbee at a blind picnic.
Right.
So much so that it's lost its original meaning. Like the word literally. Sure, terrible can mean something exceptionally bad, but it also means something that instills terror or is sinister in nature, in essence, of pure evil. See, there's a difference between, ugh, this is terrible, and which is why Ivan was named as such, making for a terrible yet shareable parable. Continuing the trend in this video, Ivan began his reign young, being only—
Yo, what is up with this, bro? My fault, my fault.
All Russia. Ivan was named as such, making for a terrible yet shareable parable.
Right.
Continuing the trend in this video, Ivan began his reign young, being only 16 when crowned Tsar of all Russia in 1547. His early years as ruler were actually pretty peaceful and progressive. The Tsar had revised law code, established a standing army, and granted the rights of self-government to rural regions. But in 1553, Ivan was stricken with a near-fatal illness. Weak and weary on his deathbed, Ivan requested that his closest nobles swear allegiance to his son in the event of his death. Please, my son.
I require many soggy oats.
What the fuck is that thing? They refused. This prompted Ivan to enact his plan B.
Oh my gosh. Refusing somebody on their deathbed is absolutely insane. Also, I want you guys to look to my left YouTube. They're having a smart off in my chat.
Ivan's health eventually recovered, unlike his trust in his supposedly loyal nobles. The Tsar pushed to expand Russian territory with the hope of opening up opportunistic trade routes. Naturally, this instigated several battles of territorial control. Ivan saw many a success, but each at a deep cost of Russian resources. And then in 1558 came the Livonian War, a war aimed at taking control of Old Livonia, which would grant Russia much-needed access to the Baltic Sea. Facing off against the kingdoms of Sweden and Poland, along with Lithuania and other European strengths, Russia was devastated. The cost of this war threw the country into economic ruin, and it was only downhill from there for poor Ivan. Famine and drought ravaged the land, his friggin' wife died, and various betrayals caused the Tsar to spiral into a manic depression, even going as far as writing a letter of resignation from the throne. The nobles, terrified to rule the country themselves, begged for Ivan's return, which he agreed, but on one condition. He would be granted absolute power over every aspect of the country, including, and most importantly, the right to execute any traitors of the crown.
How is Ivan the Terrible known for being fatherless and legitimately terrible, but black people still get the stereotype?
Hesitantly agreed. Thus, Ivan returned to power with a tight, unrelenting grip. He immediately established the Oprichniki, his very own personal guard. In exchange for wealth and privilege, these soldiers were Ivan's eyes and ears around the country, given the job of sniffing out any potential disloyalty.
Quentin said, I'm white and I grew up without a father and my mom was a crackhead. You're white? Yo, forget the other stuff. Yo, I got white people in the chat. Yo, hey, welcome. You feel me? Yo, welcome, gang. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Make yourself at home, my dog. Hey, make yourself at home, my dog. I was gonna call you my but you know what I'm saying? You're not necessarily that. Yo, that's crazy. Shout out, bro. Shout out, bro.
That great power remained completely unchecked. Under Ivan's rule, they executed and exiled thousands of nobles, seized their land, and harshly oppressed peasants. And things only got worse. By 1570, the iconic plague, TM, tore through the country, killing thousands by the day. Novgorod, one of Russia's most prominent cities, was crippled by plague, famine, and Ivan's ruthless rulings. Ivan himself feared that the entire city would defect to Lithuania, because, yeah, that Livonian War was still going on during all of this.
Right.
And so he decided to make a preemptive strike. In January of 1570, Ivan's Oprichniki invaded the city and began their reign of terror. Those attempting to escape found it impossible as Ivan's forces had barricaded the city. They were trapped. Captives were tortured.
I guess they could say, the city's gonna break my heart. The city's gonna love me and leave me alone. The city's gonna... That's all I know.
For information about their supposed plans for the betrayal of the crown, but none could speak of a truth that didn't exist. Citizens were either burned alive or tied up and thrown into...
The city's gonna love me and leave me alone. Sorry. You gotta hit that jump from the diaphragm. You know what I'm saying?
The freezing river, suffocating under the ice. Farms surrounding the city were completely destroyed, condemning any already starving survivors to death without any possible sustenance. By the end of the massacre a few weeks later, thousands of people lay dead in Ivan's wake. Any and all valuables from homes, shops, and churches were stripped, taken back to Ivan's home in Moscow, and divided amongst the Oprichniki soldiers. The Tsar's brutality had truly hit an apex, but it would soon hit a bit too close to home. On November 16, 1581, Ivan got in a heated argument with his 27-year-old son after having savagely beaten his pregnant daughter-in-law Yelena for being inappropriately...
Oh, pressed the wrong button. No! Not Yelena. Yelena, you here? Aww. Yelena, are you here? Is she here? I don't think she here. I don't think she here. Wait, no, she's not here! I'm gonna miss her, bro. She was such a good person in the community. YouTube, if you don't know what we're talking about, one of the day ones, one of the ride or dies, Yelena, bro. Ivan's son, or Ivan the Terrible, you know, beat her to... you know, in GTA. I guess I have to say that. Let me not get my channel banned. Yo, Yelena, if you're watching this video, miss you.
Dressed. The father-son altercation quickly rose to a boiling point, and Ivan lashed out, striking a single fatal blow across his son's head with a heavy cane. He had killed his own son. Worse yet, Yelena miscarried just hours later due to her injuries. Ivan collapsed to the ground, a broken man, holding his son's corpse. Before him flashed his own life of desolation and despair. After the incident, Ivan became remorseful for his past actions. In his final years, the Tsar had agreed to a truce with Lithuania, finally ending the 24-year-long Livonian War.
Yup, then he literally killed himself in GTA. Bro, spoilers! Spoilers, bro. Come on, bro. Like, we still had a whole, like, minute left on the video, bro. Come on, I ain't know that, bro. What's up, bro?
Tied up all loose ends and made peace with himself, but this didn't stop his physical deterioration. By 1584, Tsar Ivan was a frail man. Although only 53, decades of physical and mental anguish destroyed his body and mind, not to mention long-term effects from mercury addiction.
Right.
On March 28, 1584, Ivan suffered a stroke and died while playing a game of chess, causing two kings to fall at once. Terrible stuff, right?
That was so fire, chat history. That was so fire. That was so fire. That was so fire. That was so fire. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure y'all go support Chat History. You know he's one of my favorite channels to react to. He's also just a cool guy. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, yes, his videos are good, but I also just watch his videos because he's just like, he shows love to the community. So, like, check out my dog Chat History. If you guys enjoyed the video, like, comment, sub. I'm gonna see y'all down below. Goodbye. Peace.